No score is safe in this IPL. Punjab chased 265 and an SRH chased 230. Taran, what is going on?
No score is safe is the right line. It feels like 200 is the new 140 or 150. It's so chaseable these days. The wickets are so flat. We had Mutai Muralidharan say something on that went semi-viral on the internet where he was talking about the IPL is just a business now where you just want everyone's just looking for big scores, big hits, big sixes, action all the time. No one wants those tightly fought matches anymore. They just want to see big sixes, and the ones that have been the most fun have been the tightly fought matches.
That's true. I do have to give him that. It's really different this year, especially looking at, you're right. The benchmark score now is literally 200. So Punjab chasing 265. Crazy, crazy performance by the openers, Priyansh Arya and the Prince Simran Singh. And then Shreyas Iyer with a classic net out performance of 71. Taran, Punjab's looking real good, right?
But jobs looking good. I know you would just want me to say that, so I'll say it. They did lose though. They did lose, which we got to talk about. The Rajasthan Royals did give them their first loss of the season, so that was also an interesting game too.
That's true. And then SRH as well. We talked about that moving up the table. Great chase at 230. Incredible performance by Abhishek Sharma. And then Klaassen pulling up as well.
Yeah, SRH is finding some form. Again, I think we mentioned on the previous pod, it's where when they made the changes to the bowling, they found some bowlers. Now they got Cummins back in the lineup. But the batters have been finding form slowly and steadily, but still scoring at a brisk pace. They've made some comfortable chases. I think they chased 230-ish against Rajasthan, and then they chased 245-ish against Mumbai Indians. So big chases by SRH, they're looking strong.
Yeah, I think totally. And switching gears here, because we did see a lot of commentary and a lot of discourse online on the opening overs, especially with Archer getting around 5 wickets so far in the first over of the IPL. He looks very dangerous when he gets the first ball in the IPL this year.
Yeah, he's looked ruthless at the start. Like you don't want to face him right at the start. His speeds have been close to 150 right from ball one, and he's been on target, which has been amazing to see. And I think it was against Priyansh Arya when they played Punjab. He got him out three times in the over, and he finally got him out on the third try. I think one flew past slip, so there wasn't a slip there. One was dropped, I believe. So he's been looking good, and I think he followed it up with another performance. I forget who it was, but he missed out on getting it in the first ball, but it once again got a wicket in the first over. So he's been looking good.
Yeah, and quick shout out to Boovy as well. He's got a few wickets in the first over. Class is permanent with that swing. But yeah, first overs now are being very carefully played by some select teams, especially against Rajasthan and
It,
RCB.
yeah, we had some performances by the legends of the IPL. Booby was one of them, and then we got to give a shout out to Sunil Narine as well. He just hit 200 wickets for KKR in the IPL. The only team he's ever played for in the IPL. Definitely one of the legends.
Incredible, incredible performance.
All right. So, for those of you who haven't seen us or heard us before, we are the In Between Overs podcast. Your host for today's play, I'm Taran.
And I'm Ishan.
Okay, the big debate for this week that we want to discuss is Shreyas Iyer the best T20 chaser in the game right now? I'm talking any league, any type of T20 game, international or domestic.
See, as much as he's my captain, Punjab's captain, I do gotta give him the flowers. He's been batting incredibly well this year, crazy form, and it does seem like you put him in any situation, especially chasing, he'll get the job done. But is he the best? I don't know because I still have the GOAT, Virat Kohli up there, and someone who's been performing very well, someone who I know we'll talk about this later, that Mumbai should, definitely revolve their team around, Tilak Verma. I think we need to definitely put Tilak Verma and Virat Kohli up in there for for probably the best chasers in the T20.
Those are very good points. He definitely has a couple other challengers per se, but I still think that he is above them right now. Like Virat Kohli will always be one of the all-time greats. I'm talking about right now, current form, current day and age. if you were to want someone at the crease at any situation in the game, Shreyas Iyer can come in at 10 for 4. He'll consolidate. He'll help the team get to a target or chase a target down. He comes in at the end with maybe in the end overs where you need quick runs or you need 50 of 20 balls. He has it in him to chase it down and get those runs. So for me, he feels like this a complete batsman in the sense that he can bat any gear, gear 1 to gear 6. He can switch gears. He can start at any gear. He can switch up from one gear to the other and back to the other, depending on the situation. I think he has mastered the art of batting. And I know we're focusing on chasing, but I would even throw in just in general. It's a reach to say he's the best T20 batter right now. But if I think the simple question is, one batter that you want at the crease in any situation right now, I'm taking Shreyas Iyer.
See, I think again, Punjab's my team. I gotta give out, you gotta give the captain the flowers. But I think what we have to consider is the momentum given by the Punjab openers. The Punjab openers have been incredible this season, right? For Simran Singh, definitely underrated, especially when it comes to a lot of the debate about IPL and T20 cricket. I think what helps Shreyas Iyer is the momentum he gets from the top three batters. Now, if we quickly look at Mumbai hasn't really gotten that from the openers. Their openers are struggling. You had Quinton de Kock with us, a one century. Rick Colton played really well one game. But, for the games that I think Mumbai had won, I think Tilak Verma had played a very important knock. He had that one incredible century. I think Mumbai was like maybe four wickets down in the first 10 overs or maybe the first 7 overs. And Tilak Verma scoring the century off the first ball. Sorry, off the last ball that it wasn't a chase. I know they were batting first, but I think we definitely can't not consider Tilak Verma in the debate. Now, if we take a step back from the IPL, if you recall the Asia Cup, now I know Shreyas Iyer is not part of the India team, and there's a lot of debate on that. But Tilak Verma, his performances against Pakistan, his performances even in the group stages of the T20 World Cup, he's played extremely well, and he's one of those players who, if you look back at Mumbai very very quickly now, his batting position is not really solidified. So I think to your point about, a batter being malleable, being put in any situation, Shreyas Iyer is coming in at 4, but Tilak Verma is sometimes coming at 6, sometimes coming in at 4.
Mhm.
I think you need to put a little bit of asterisks on Tilak Verma because he's been playing outside his comfort zone in my eyes.
Yeah, that's a good point. He does play in different batting positions for sure. If you take a look at Shreyas Iyer's track record in this IPL, so he's got 450s in the season, and all those 50s has been in winning causes. So the one that stands out to me, the one against SRH, where Punjab were chasing a big target, 200 plus. As we said in the opening, doesn't seem as big in this day and age, but you still have to score at a brisk rate throughout the 20 overs in order to chase those successfully, right? And you make a great point about him getting the momentum from the openers. And in that game, he did get the momentum from the openers where Priyansh Arya and Prabh Simran got off to a great start. I think they put on close to 99 for the first wicket in 6 overs. And when he came to the crease, Punjab were 2 down for 117, 8.5 overs. So yeah, the momentum was there, but they still had another 100 runs to chase and only 11 overs left. So it's not like Punjab were could be considered easy winners at that stage. They still had work to do. And so he came in, and then within a couple overs, Connolly got out, but he was able to consolidate the innings, read the situation, read that at that moment in time, Punjab was slightly ahead from a run rate situation. He played solidly. I think probably I would say gear 2, gear 3, stayed at a run of ball, didn't try to play any extravagant or risky shots, and built a partnership with the number 5 bat, which was Neal Vadera at the time, um, and they got closer to the target. And then as soon as he got into that range where it was the last 40, 50 runs, he took off. And so that I share that as a prime example of that's one example. But then you look at the other knocks, he's done that consistently. The first game against CSK, they were chasing 200 plus. He came in at a stage where, again, momentum was given, but you still have to continue the momentum. So I think him being able to continue the momentum given by the openers, because we've seen it time and time again in games where teams get off to great starts, but then they lose it in the middle overs. RR is one of them. They're
That's
top
true.
heavy. And they lose momentum middle lower order. They found something now with Donovan Ferreira. But as an example, SRH is another one too.
Mm.
Klaassen has been helping them in the middle. Mumbai Indians haven't gotten that top order start. So I see your point about Tilak Varma being able to, he technically has to carry the load coming at the bottom, right? But it'd be interesting to see how he goes the other way around as well.
That's true. Now, I think what's even a little more interesting is, and I do agree with you, Shreyas Iyer is in the form of his life. One, why the hell is he not in the India team? And second, if he was part of the Indian team, the T20 setup, who would he replace? Because in my eyes, Tilak Verma and Shreyas Iyer in the middle. Oh, you're goaded.
That sounds like a phenomenal partnership, a match made in heaven. And they're right and lefty, and we know who loves that combination the most. So I agree. I think for Team India, I think Shreyas Iyer somehow has to find a way into the lineup. And it's funny we're talking about him. There's a live game going on right now. Gujarat Titans versus Punjab Kings. Punjab is not looking good right now. They just lost another wicket. They're 36 for 4. Neil Vadara just got out. Shreyas Iyer is still at the crease. So it's funny we're having this conversation. This innings could be a defining innings for our conversation right now.
I love it. I love it. But if Shreyas Iyer were to come in the India setup, who would he replace?
So the middle order obviously is full. I know we've had debates about this with regards to a certain skipper of the Indian team.
That's where my head is at.
Sir,
That's where my head is at.
well, he is reaching the end of his career. He hasn't been in the greatest form in the IPL right now. Again, for those of you who haven't figured it out, we're talking about Surya Kumar Yadav Sky. That if there's a spot available, it's his spot. As hard as it is to say, because he's been a servant of Indian cricket. He may not have played as long as some other players, but he's done really well for India. Won India Cup, obviously. But you feel like he's towards the twilight of his career, where perhaps it's time for someone else.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Like, I do think Shreyas Iyer needs to be part of the T20 setup. He's been playing incredibly well. And yeah, I do think if there's space, it is Sky. Obviously, the question comes who then gets the captaincy. I think you have a lot of potential players in that T20 team. Literally, you have, I think, like 4 or 5 players who currently captains in their IPL squad. So definitely you have some potential there. But no, I actually do agree. Shreyas Iyer is definitely one of the best chasers, definitely one of the best batsmen in the T20 setup this year. And we definitely want to see him continue this form in the international setup for sure.
Yeah, and we have to also add the fact that he is captaining at the same time. So he's clearly shown that he's able to decompartmentalize the two responsibilities, because we've seen very good batters have challenges keeping up with their form when they're also captaining. And we haven't noticed that with Shreyas either. We haven't even talked about the fact that he's doing all this while leading the team.
That's true. That's true. Captaincy and batting, we know some players cannot handle both, and it seems like he's handling both really well.
Awesome. So let's get into some other storylines that took place in the past week. So a storyline that's brewing, and it's not looking good for a certain fan base and certain owners, is the Mumbai Indians franchise. What is going on with Mumbai Indians? They seem like they are struggling this season. You always see they find this way of coming back in the second half of the season, but the way they're playing right now, it doesn't look like they're gonna make a comeback.
Money can't buy you everything, right? I think that's it right there, right? Money can buy IPL wins, especially with how every team is playing. Yep, it does seem that Mumbai, in my eyes, I'm making this call, are not going to make the playoffs this year. I think this is just one of those years where they have to look back at their squad, look back at their entire setup, and maybe make some big calls. You definitely have questions on the team, the composition of the players, right? The age of the players. But then you also have maybe some questions that are maybe not directly there. We do hear some rumors about, some issues in the change room potentially, maybe some players not really liking the captaincy. And if you don't know who I'm talking about Hardik Pandya. We know what happened with his captaincy. I think it was maybe it's 2 seasons ago. He's getting booed almost every Mumbai Indians game, being the captain. It doesn't seem like Mumbai Indians have improved at all ever since Hardik Pandya got captaincy, which we know Mumbai Indians, nothing is success until you win that championship. And right now, they have not gotten any success in the last few years.
Yeah, it's such a storied franchise with such a rich history. They've obviously won the IPL 5 times, along with CSK. And they, in the last 5 years or 5 to 6 seasons, it just felt like they've stagnated. They had this knack of finding gems through the uncapped Indian players, even international players. They would find gems, and it seems like they've lost that touch a little bit with their scouting. I don't know what that is. I don't know what the personnel is like there, whether they lost some personnel that were helping them before. I don't know. But it seems like they're whoever they've found hasn't really sort of they haven't really unearthed any great gems in the last few years. I mean, yes, Tilak Varma, but this is now Tilak Varma, we've known about him for the last 3, 4 seasons. In the recent past, there hasn't been too many. There've been resemblances of it, like Ashwani Kumar is one that comes to mind. I remember Marco Jansen's brother. I forget his first name. They tried him. He didn't really work out. They tried Arjun Tendulkar. He didn't really work out. They've tried some spinners. Hasn't really worked out. They're trying spinners right now. Hasn't really worked out. Gazanfar is showing signs, but maybe he needs a little more time. Maybe he just needs a couple more seasons. He looks a little raw. He kind of looks like Noor when Noor first started, and now Noor is
Mm.
more established as a spinner. Um, talk about Noor Ahmed. So it feels like they've just lost some of their abilities that made them such a powerful franchise. And then I don't know if leadership and the coaching staff, whatever they're coming up with, maybe they need something fresh there. You see, Jarwanda and Malinga has been coaching for the last several seasons, and there comes a point where you've tried so many things, and yeah, you can change players, but at some point, you probably need to consider changing management too.
Yeah, and we see it in soccer slash football all the time, right? A team is not performing. Rather than change the playing 11 or the entire squad, it's usually the manager who goes or the coaching staff, right? So maybe Mumbai needs that sort of, that vacuum from a leadership perspective and get a fresh perspective on who to coach. And we know IPL brings in the best coaches in the world, right? Whether coaches from other international teams or other T20. And for a team like Mumbai, I think any coach would want to, would love to have that ability to influence the Mumbai Indians. Now, I know you just talked about, one, the coaching perspective, and second, the prospective players that Mumbai has always been able to unearth. But let's just take a look at the current Mumbai team. You have Bumrah not performing the best, but internationally he does. So big question mark there. Pandya, not in the best form, actually. So again, sometimes finds really great form in the international setup, but not for 20 setup. And then obviously you have Rohit Sharma's injury, but again, was Rohit Sharma that material for Mumbai's success this year? I don't know. So what do you think about some of the most established players in the Mumbai setup? Obviously, these are legends. I'm sorry, I didn't even mention Sky. Sky hasn't been in the best touch as well. So does Mumbai need to maybe look at some of their key players and make some big calls?
Yeah, I mean, speaking specifically to the Indian core that they have, they this year was the year where the big auction happened, and they obviously retained the players in Sky, Bumrah, Rohit Sharma, Tilak Varma, and Hardik Pandya. Those were the players they decided to retain, your Indian core. And you make a great point. I think personally, they probably need to blow up that Indian core. And by blow up, I mean not all of them, but you keep your youngest superstar right now, which is Tilak Varma. I feel you build the batting around him. He becomes your linchpin for the next 3 to 5 years, or at least until the next big auction, which I think happens every 3 years. And then you look at keeping Bumrah as your linchpin in the bowling attack. I think even though he's shown some struggles this season, That's fine. He's a GOAT of the game. I think you don't drop a legend like that, right? So you keep Bumrah. Rohit has been a servant for Mumbai Indians. He's at the twilight of his career. Sky has been a servant for Mumbai Indians, twilight of his career. And then the question mark is Hardik Pandya. He brings right now three players to the fold: bowler, batter, and captain. Does he stay as captain? I don't know. Is he good as an all-rounder still? Of course. He's an amazing all-rounder, but can he then manage playing under another captain? I don't know the answer to that, right? So that's where it gets interesting for Mumbai with the Indian core. And also, we just talked about the big auction happened this year, so or before the season. So I don't know what the rules are around how easy it's going to be to just blow up a squad like that.
So I want to make a big call here. I want to make a big call. I think Mumbai should remove Hardik Pandya from captaincy. I think it'll be good for Mumbai. But I think what this will allow Pandya to do, and I think Pandya should do this, I think Pandya then should look to get captaincy at a different IPL team. Now, I'm gonna make a call here. I want to see, and I think we might see Pandya captaining KKR in the future. I think one, it'll be good for his legend status. Now, hear me out here. I think you could then maybe equate Hardik Pandya to LeBron James in the sense that stay with me here. In the sense that LeBron James has won a championship with every team he's played in. I think Pandya could, if you want to cement his legacy in the IPL, he could be considered as one of the players who wins a championship in the teams he's played with. Although I know he's won the IPL with Mumbai as a player, not a captain. But if he's able to win 3 different championships with 3 different teams, I think that will cement his legacy in the IPL. Let's all be real. Pandya is all about Pandya, right? He wants sort of to be in the echelons of the legends. So if he's being selfish, Mumbai captaincy is not working. I think he's exhausted his time in Mumbai. He should definitely look outwardly for other captaincy opportunities in the IPL. And I think teams will be willing to give it to him.
KKR, him going to KKR is a big shout for sure. But it makes sense because KKR, Rahane hasn't been doing that bad a job. He hasn't been doing that great a job either. You feel like he's in there because they don't really have a choice. And so perhaps Hardik going to KKR makes sense. My thing is, how is that going to happen? Are we talking about another trade here for Cam Green, perhaps again?
Bring in, yeah, Cam Green or maybe even Raghuvanshi. Who knows?
Oh, that's a big shout. Yeah, it is interesting to see what happens here after the season. I don't think it's gonna pan out the way Mumbai Indians want it to. It'll be a crazy, crazy, crazy miracle for them to make the playoffs from here. I mean, it'll be shocking if they do, to be honest. But it's looking like bottom of the table right now, and they have a lot of question marks. I think we covered a lot of the things that they need to consider, which is
Yeah, we talked about the captaincy, we talked about the coaching, we talked about the prospective talent growth that they've always been great at. Just nothing's really working for Mumbai.
yeah, moving on to our next storyline with regards to our game of the week. So we had Lucknow versus KKR give us our first super over of this IPL. And it was a fantastic match to watch. Lots of back and forth throughout that game. Talking about the bottom of the table, I remember we were making fun of this game because this game happened on a Sunday. We're like, oh my God, LSG versus KKR should be fun. And it ended up being a lot of fun. Lots to talk about in that game itself. It was a game about Rinku Singh, who was able to rescue KKR, got them to a good target, and then did so well in the field with his
Yeah.
catching ability, and then finished the game off in the super over.
Yeah, no, Rinku Singh played an incredible knock. I feel like he has, in the last few years of the IPL, he's had 2, 3 games where it was literally Rinku Singh winning the game for the team. So kind of a testament to why he made the international setup as well. He's just one of those players, just make it happen, and Rinku Singh is there. As you mentioned, one of the things that maybe people don't notice all the time, in that game especially, and I'm glad you brought it up, he was catching everything. It seemed like the ball was gravitating towards wherever he was. And we know how bad the catches have been in this IPL. Shut up, Punjab. But he's been playing. Rinku Singh has been incredible, incredible in the field. And a quick shout out as well. I know, big, big game for Rinku Singh, but the first, I think, fifer for this IPL season, Mohsin
Yes.
Khan getting a fifer. I know we have to talk a little bit about him as well because he then got subbed off, which is interesting. But I think definitely this game had a lot of different things to talk about. And, we didn't even talk about Nicholas Pura and Sunil Narayan.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that. Mohsin Khan is a good topic to talk about with this Pfeiffer. We were in the previous episode. Someone, I think it was you, or I don't know who was it. You?
It was
We
me,
were
but I'll
calling.
give a shout out. You mentioned it before though. I just copied your idea.
Okay, okay. We predicted that there would be a Pfeiffer, or we were hoping for a Pfeiffer to happen, given so many centuries, and we got our Pfeiffer in unexpected fashion. Would have never have guessed it to come from Mohsin Khan, but he gave us a Pfeiffer. It was a great bowling performance because a few of those wickets were his wickets, as in he setting up the batsman with great deliveries. A couple of them were some ordinary shots, but it looked like his performance would keep KKR to a very low target that LSG would easily chase, but KKR were able to fight back in the form of Rinku Singh, as we talked about. Shout out to Cam Green too. He had a good contribution that game, made 34, 21 balls, had a good partnership with Rinku Singh that sort of rescued KKR. But yeah, good performance by Mohsin Khan. And then when you look at the chase, you felt that Lucknow this should have been a walk in the park. But as they say in cricket, you know, you don't judge a pitch until, or you don't judge a performance until both teams have batted on the pitch. And when Lucknow came into bat, you could see that batting wasn't that easy. It was one of those wickets that we would see a lot in past IPL
Yes.
seasons that would give us these types of matches, right? These close matches where bat isn't necessarily dominating ball. Ball has an opportunity to make inroads and to curtail the runs, and we saw that with the bowling performance from KKR. Varun Chakravarti and Sunil Narayan found some form, and they were well supported by the other bowlers as well.
I know. I think I saw this on online somewhere. When this matchup was being played last week, it was like both teams just don't want to win. It seemed like both teams being at the bottom of the table were just making sure they didn't win. But I think you're right. It was definitely a testament to how the pitch was. I think, as you mentioned in your opening statement at the beginning of this podcast, we kind of miss those little middle order chase, middle of the park chases where it is tricky. The ball stopping, people are getting out. One wicket brings two wickets, and then it gets really interesting at the end. And shout out to one of the legends of the IPL. Sorry, shout out to one of the legends of international cricket, Shami. Shami with a six at the end to bring in the super over. Man, it seems like Shami can hit the ball once in a while.
Yeah, I remember him doing that for India as well. But he just knows how to slog the ball. Don't expect him to survive too long, but he'll give you a couple sixes while he's there. So that was a pretty cool finish to see him get that six and give us that super over. So let's talk about that super over. I believe it was LSG that came out to bat, and we were talking about on WhatsApp, who does it make sense to send out? And we weren't sure because LSG's batting order just seems to be all over the place. Their batters are in and out of form. And out walks Pooran and Markram. I believe it was Markram.
Markham, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it was going to be what we were sure about was who was going to bowl for KKR. And we knew it was going to be Narine. And we both said that I don't think this is a good matchup.
For Nicholas Puran. And shout out to the
Yes.
CPL where, you know, Nicholas Puran faced Sunil Narayan in a super over a couple of years back, and it was actually a maiden wicket over, which, I'm sure was playing in the back of the mind of Nicholas Puran. But and I'm glad we were both watching this together. We were messaging. First ball, incredible ball from Sunil Narayan. Legends, never rust. But it goes back to, why was Nicholas Puran even there? He's not been in the best form this season. He's playing literally with someone who's been in his mind for so many years with that super over maiden over. It
Rent
just
free.
seemed like, yeah, it literally was a red free. It seemed like it was the perfect storm for Nicholas Puran. And first ball, wicket, you kind of just saw it happen before it happened.
Yeah. Yeah. You could literally see it coming that Puran was probably going to slog across the line first ball. Narayan knew that right, like before even deciding to take the ball in his hand. And he bowled a ball that went away. I think it was a carom ball that went away from Puran. You knew it wasn't going to spin into him. who had absolutely no clue how much it was going to spin. It was a perfect pace, perfect length, gripped, turned, bowled, and immediately pressure on LSG right away because in the Super Bowl we only allowed 2 wickets, and then very next ball you had sorry, not
Rishabh
very
Pant.
next ball. Rishabh Pant came in, hit a single, and then Aiden Markram got out, and then you had that was the game right there. There's no way you're defending 1 run, and even 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 with the fact that they weren't able to, we got to talk about the fact that they weren't able to play their best bowler as well because of an earlier decision that you were talking about where they subbed out Mohsin Khan. And I think you wanted to talk more about that, where I believe you were saying teams need to think about that for super overs too.
Yeah. And, I think that's a great segue because unfortunately, I know it was a single run to defend, and Nicholas Pruan, Sunil Narine, what's better than a maiden over in a super over? A one run in a super over. So him literally giving you the two best possibilities, incredible. But again, defending one run, super tough for any bowler of any class. But I think teams should definitely look at who they take off because if you notice a game that could potentially be tight, are you willing to take off your best bowler who got a fifer with, a potential the match going into the super over? And again, we're just talking from a bowling perspective, but the inverse is possible as well. You take off a really great batter, maybe you just scored a century, you want him to rest, as a team, as the other team chases. But if you take him off and the game goes into a super over, you may not have your best opener at the crease. So I think it actually adds a real interesting variable to how coaching staff, the captaincy thinks about, the impact player rule. Because I think it's a really interesting rule to have. But I definitely think that it definitely needs to be considered with the fact that a match may go into a super over. And I know, albeit the possibility is super less, but I think something teams should definitely start thinking about.
I think that's what it is. The probability of it being so low is probably why teams probably won't consider doing that, given that we've only had one super over so far, right? But I think there is some merit there, obviously, where you keep your best bowler. Don't take him out. Keep him just in case there may be a super over and you need him. Because he's obviously your best. Remember talking about best bowler for the day, right? And that can
Correct,
change any
correct.
given match, unless of course you're Boomerang, then you keep him, or you have those proven performers, sorry, like Narine. You probably don't sub him out, right? So it gets can be tricky, but I could see teams just being like, it is what it is. If Super Over happens, we just make the most with what we have to choose from.
Exactly, and then very poetic as well for Rinku Singh hitting the winning runs. I think that was really poetic for him to like get that.
One controversy that we got to bring up from that match was a run out that happened via obstructing the field that you don't see very often. And when it does, it's always a talking point. So Raghuvanshi hits the ball to mid on, sets off for a run, gets sent back. And in getting sent back, he sort of does like a wide U turn in going back, and then as he does that, he happens to come in the path of the ball, and the ball hits him. LSG appeal, and the TV umpires go through and they determine that he changed his path to get in line with the ball, and he was given out to the disappointment of the KKR fans.
Yeah, see, I did not like that call at all. In fact, I think maybe Rishabh Pant should have withdrawn his appeal. I think, you know, if LSG is not winning the IPL season, he might as well win the Fair Play Award. But that's besides the point. But I definitely think, and I know, sometimes with these decisions, they stick to literally what's in the book by the checklist they have. But I think you should definitely look at, is he changing the direction while he's looking at the ball being thrown in the air? Is he trying to get in the way while the ball is in the air? Maybe put his bat out or maybe stick an arm out. I don't think that was the case there. I think, yeah, you're right. It was a little wider turn, but we've all played sports before. Sometimes that's just how you turn, right? It's the middle of the
Yes.
moment, and it does seem like his back was, being completely visible to when the ball was being thrown, and he kind of just was looking to get across the line. And I definitely think it was a bad call. Now, how much that impacted the game, it definitely did, because obviously, he was a big wicket and momentum shifted to LSG for a bit. But I definitely think that was an unfortunate call. But I think maybe Rishabh Pant should have withdrawn the decision and not left it at the hands of the umpire.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think it was a bad call by the umpires. I feel that he had no choice in terms of how he needed to turn. He just went with his momentum and just turned, and then he just happened to be in the path of the ball. I don't think he knowingly turned to get in. He was trying to get back to his crease, and I think that's what he was arguing back with at the end. That's probably what the KKR dugout was thinking too, because you saw some disappointed reactions from Shane Watson and some of the other KKR dugout where they couldn't understand the situation. They were talking about it in the com box too, and I agree. I think that him stopping right away and then turning around just didn't make sense in the way that he already started running. So it just felt very natural, but then I could see the third umpire making his justifying his reasoning as well, because he kept his eyes on the ball the entire time, but that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to keep your eyes on the ball. And so perhaps Punt should have just withdrawn the appeal and just let it play out from there. But yeah, interesting situation that happened.
But hey, another talking point for the IPL, which I love.
All right, so looking at the upcoming week of games, obviously there's a game going on right now, but with what's coming up, contender watch, SRH, they're looking like contenders right now.
Yeah, I know, they definitely had a slow start, and there's a lot of questions on their bowling. But I think you shouted out Pat Cummins last week, where he's coming in, he's definitely gonna make some waves, and it definitely seems like SRH is on the come up. We see Klaassen in form as well. He had that great chase and great knock a few games ago. I think SRH is definitely gonna be in the top 4 with the way they're playing.
Yeah, well, they just broke their winning streak today, losing to KKR. They won 5 games in a row, so they built a lot of good momentum coming into this week. They lost to KKR, but I can see them gaining it right back. I think it's just one of those games where their batting didn't click, and that's going to happen from time to time with SRH. We've seen this in the past too, where because they play this brand of cricket that we now see many other teams play. We see India play as well, where they go hard all the time. And so that I think that's what happened today. And shout out to KKR's bowling again. Sunil Narine and Varun Chakravarti have found some form, so they came up against that. But overall, I think SRH look in a good place from a batting standpoint. Some question marks around Aniket Verma and I believe it's Sahil Arora, as well as the other batter that's not coming to mind. No, it is Aniket Verma. It is Aniket Verma. Sorry, Aniket Verma, Sal Aurora, and NKR. They look a little
Mhm.
shaky, but you're hoping one of them are able to always put up some sort of cameo at the end, because that's what's been required of them lately, which speaks to how well the top order has been playing for them.
Yeah. Switching gears here now to the orange cap. As you mentioned, a lot of good batting from SRH, and we see a lot of SRH representation in the orange cap table. Right now, we have Abhishek Sharma,
Hmm.
followed by KL Rahul, Henrik Klaassen, Suryavanshi, Virat Kohli, Shubman Gill, and Prabhu Simran Singh at 7. Who do you think's going to end up with the orange cap this year?
This is going to be a tough one. My mind immediately goes to Baby Bob Suryavanshi because of the way he's been playing. I could easily see any one of them finishing at the top. Virat Kohli, King Kohli, you can never discount him. But if I were to pick someone, I'm probably going with Suryavanshi just because he's looked phenomenal against any bowler. There isn't a bowler that looks like getting him out. Maybe what Jameson showed in the last game where he bowled him on a Yorker, I think that may be the way to go against him, where you just bowl Yorkers at him.
Yeah, I think again, we saw the reaction from Jameson. It definitely seemed like he was really happy with that wicket. But it goes back to your point. Suryavanshi has been incredible at the top, right? So I definitely think he'll definitely be in the top 5. But I'm sticking with Abhishek Sharma, not because my last name's Sharma as well, but I think he's definitely in great form, and he's given that liberty at the top. And I think he may flunk 1 out of 2 innings, but the innings that he actually plays really well in, he'll get you that quick 50, that quick 60. And I think for him now, that's average. So I definitely think Abhishek Sharma. should, in my eyes, win the Orange Cap this year. But hey, you got some good people right under him. You got Rahul, which is obviously interesting. He's always there somehow. And then you mentioned Henrik Clausen and then Rock Goalie. So yeah, definitely a lot of representation from SRH there. And now, I guess when it comes to the purple cap, that's also a big uh prize for this IPL. A lot of questions who's going to win that. So right now, interestingly, top I'll give you top 6 of the purple cap table right now. Boovie at number 1 with 17, Anshul Kamboj with 17 wickets, followed by Jofra Archer, Kagiso Rabada, Ishan Malinga at 5 with 15, and then Prince Yadav at 13 wickets.
Yeah, the purple cap race is certainly tight. Some of those bowlers that you named, especially Anshul Kamboj, I wouldn't have expected him to be at the top. But it's looking like a close race with the purple cap too. I don't know who is going to be at the top. Definitely some. What is interesting, it's all pace. I do like Kagiso Rabada. He's looked phenomenal in every match that he's played. In fact, even the game going on right now against Punjab Kings, I think he's already taken a couple of wickets. So if I were to pick one there, I would go with Kagiso Rabada.
Yeah, I think it's a great shout out there. He's been in great form, and he's been one of GT's primary wicket-taking bowlers. For me, I'm gonna put Jofra Archer up there. I think he's also with 15 wickets. He's also, just literally like I think any batsman facing him in the first over is already on the back foot. I think they know how dangerous he could be. I know that, sometimes the pace from him, the ball pace, he again very smooth action, but the way the ball comes is like incredibly lightning speed with some extra bounce. I definitely think it's catching a lot of batters off guard in the first over. So I definitely think it'll be Jofra Archer, but I think Kagiso Rabada is a good shout out as well.
Awesome. Well, the IPL has been phenomenal to say the least, has given us a lot of great performances. Definitely feel that players step it up for the IPL because of the amount of talent and competition there is. Everyone's trying to prove themselves. Yeah, and the amount of money that there's in it, right? You got to perform, and we definitely are getting some good performances. Definitely no complaints from a fan standpoint in terms of entertainment and just raw cricket in terms of batting, in terms of bowling. Obviously, very different than Test cricket, but T20 is entertaining, and that's what we're getting. So we look forward to the rest of this IPL, and for now, that's stumps.